That was my dad. And I apologize for the bad lighting, but I'm down here in the dungeon, a place where growing up I spent many hours suffering in, and my dad, he's in his 70s and he's still going through the paces, suffering, doing more than a young man would be doing. But reminds me of a guy a couple thousand years ago that suffered for a purpose, just like we were in here suffering for a purpose. And it's something that a lot of kids these days don't really understand, this concept called delayed gratification, meaning you're going to suffer somehow, you're going to give up things to get something greater in the long run. It seems like these days, especially the young generation, but some older people too, they don't want to have to put in work. They think they should get everything instantly now. And when you train for a sport, whatever it is, especially a really hard sport, like for my dad, it's bodybuilding, for me, wrestling. When you train for a sport, you understand that. And here's a life tip for you. The happiest you'll probably ever be in life is when you're in pursuit of a worthwhile goal. And that's going to be different for everyone, but it's not achieving the goal usually that makes you happy. It's the actual pursuit. And I think for me, as a kid, spending so much time here training, working out, for me it was winning state championships in wrestling. And going through that, that was probably the happiest I've ever been. And that's the way it is for pretty much everyone. The happiest you'll ever be is in the pursuit, the process you're going through, that time, being in pursuit of a worthwhile goal. But anyways, that's not really what I brought you down here to talk to you guys about today. My wife, she posted something on the internet, and a guy that follows my other channel, and this guy, he actually contributed financially. He once donated $100 to help me make the content on my other channel, so I'm very grateful for that. But my wife posted something about what's going on, the situation in the world, and my wife, she's a woman of strong faith. And so she has everything, the way she looks at the world, everything's from that perspective of someone that has strong faith. And this guy that commented, he's a good guy, but he's a liberal. And basically he left a comment saying that everyone's looking at this current situation from whatever viewpoint they have, whatever biases they already have. And basically, I agree with them. We're certainly seeing that now from a lot of the global warming people. Even Barack Obama, somehow he thinks this virus has to do with global warming and that's the cause of it. But his point was, the commenter, that Christians, they're maybe putting people at danger because we think we're protected by God and we're going to go out there and engage in risky behavior. Well, first of all, just because you're a person of faith or a Christian, typically that doesn't mean you check your brain. I'm not going to go down to the zoo and jump in the cage with a lion. For one thing, we're always taught that we're not supposed to tempt fate or tempt God. You're not supposed to put God to a test. So generally, that's not the way it works. But my wife, she was saying, he doesn't seem to be a religious guy. And I know why that is. I believe I know why that is. As far as I know, this guy is childless. And for me, going through the process over the past year, I can't see how someone could go through that process of having a baby, having a child, and not have some sort of spiritual transformation. I know it's happened to so many people. And if you don't have children, I can't put it into words for you, unfortunately. You just have to experience it. But that's what happened to me. That's actually what transformed me. But going through that, it changes you. Now, this guy, he didn't go through that. He doesn't have kids. So I understand his point. And to people out there that are atheist or agnostic, I very much understand their point of view because I walked that path myself for many years. And I would say the same things that a lot of those people said. I don't believe in religion. I believe in science. I used to say stuff like that, that's subject for another video, but I understand where they're coming from. But one thing I didn't do that I noticed many atheists and agnostics, especially atheists, many of them, what they do is they like to try to burst the bubble of people of faith. and they like to try and debate them and chat and like mock them in many ways. And I believe that's because inside, they're not that happy with themselves. They're kind of angry and bitter, especially when they see someone else maybe having a family, living a happy life, having some sort of emotional and mental security of that no matter what happens, even in this world, I'm ultimately going to be taken care of when I get to that next world. When you live your life like that, and then someone else, they see it. A lot of people out there, they're bitter. They want to rain on your parade of people that have faith. And I never did that. I was someone that, even if I wasn't religious myself, I would never trash anyone's religion. I would never try to put down their faith, whatever it is, whether it's they're a Christian, whether they're a Muslim, whether they're a practicing Jew, whatever. I remember John Travolta on TV talking one time after his son died about how a lot of people mock Scientology, but that helped him through a very tough time in his life after his son died. And hey man, if that helped him out, I'm not certainly going to get on his case, so I don't care that he's a Scientologist. If he feels that that helps him and that's his faith, if that's what he truly believes in, then hey man, I ain't going to insult it. So I was never that way. And I've noticed so many of these atheists out there, that's what they want to do. But if you look at them, they're ugly people. They're not happy people. They're not people that I would ever admire or look up to and want to be like. So definitely, even if I can understand where they're coming from with some of their attitudes, I never had that bitterness about me. So that's one thing that you'll see in a lot of atheists. But the other thing about religion, whether you believe that we have a heavenly Father and we're God's children, and if you have that belief, let me tell you this, it's going to help you out because it's just going to give you a certain confidence in life of thinking that, hey, God created me and God created me for a purpose. It really does something to you. It does something to your thinking that's really great. And I have to say, after becoming a Christian myself, and it's not like I've been a Christian, like such a super devout guy for so long, for so many years, but I like myself more living this way. And if you watch my other channel, you might be saying, well, you like yourself a little too much already. You don't need to be liking yourself anymore. But it's a very different kind of thing. But the other thing, aside from all these spiritual aspects, aside from me being happier and being happier with myself, and I was already, like I said, a lot of people would say it, I was already too happy with myself. But people will say, these critics, they'll say, religion, man, that's just a form of control. Well, you know what? Yeah, that's true. It is a form of control. I have a background in psychology, and one of the most basic essences of behavioral psychology is everything we do, it's either to gain reward or to avoid a punishment of some sort. And that's religion in a nutshell. We can get the ultimate reward of heaven or the ultimate punishment of damnation in hell. So there's that. But I would say too, we all have faith in something. Doesn't matter if you're an atheist, everyone has faith in something, and we're certainly seeing a lot of people right now in this world situation put their faith in the government or in scientists. I've been seeing all these commercials for AIDS drugs on TV, and these people, they put their faith in the scientists that this drug is going to magically make everything okay, so I don't need to alter my lifestyle or worry because I can put my faith in the scientists. That's their God to some extent. So we all have faith. We just have faith in different things. Just because someone's an atheist, that doesn't mean they have faith. In fact, they maybe have faith in many regards more than the average person. But aside from all this, one of the best aspects of religion, going back to a form of control, is it provides a structure for our world. And if we just all did what we want, we wouldn't have those family structures that society's built upon. So it provides a very important structure of how to live our life that keeps us out of an awful lot of trouble. So that's, in many ways, just as important of aspect. Even if you can't totally buy into, or you're not totally there yet, that, oh, there is this Heavenly Father, if you can understand the structure that it provides and how we have families and how we carry on from generation to generation, we build these societies. That structure that it provides for our life is almost as important. So that's just something I had on my mind. I totally understand where atheists and agnostics are coming from after having walked that path myself for so many years. So this is just some more food for thought for you. Go ahead and check out my other videos.